Hey, good evening traders, it's Mark here. So just looking at the dollar index, we sent out an email yesterday saying the dollar index could be at a turning point. Now, news has come out today. It has been better than forecast, but look, it's still showing that the markets or the data is in contraction. Now, why we're saying it could be a turning point, let me just adjust this slightly, is because of some nice structure points that we can see here, where if we go back to, what's this? Early 2020, we can see the dollar index had a nice spike up into this area, and from that point we had a correction, a strong impulse, creating new highs through 2022 and pulling back in early 23. Now, if we look at the old fib levels and we draw them in, we can see that if we take it from the lows right up to the highs, we can see that the market has corrected back into the 50% retracement right here. Now this weekly candle, we can ignore that one because effectively the candle is still live, it's still running, still operational. So the current small candle that you can see here, you know, in theory that could finish up a huge big candle like this, or you know, it could be a bearish candle dropping down here. We don't know because it's still live, so we have to wait for this candle to close, and we can only go off the previous candle's data. So we've got structure coming into play at the 102 even handle there or thereabouts. We've got old resistance becoming new support, and then we've had this strong move down from 115s all the way down to 102s. So very, very strong move pulling back down, and as strong as it was on the impulsive move. Now what we're looking for is to see if this is an area where the market is likely to turn and buyers are likely to come back in. So the kind of price action we want to see is the market slowing down, which we can see last week after a big impulsive candle. We get a nice little doji candle with a small body, wick to the upside, wick to the downside, showing a little bit of indecision. So now what we're looking for is, will buyers come into the market? So will we see anything like this? So we're going to have to drop down the time frame, and we can see, looking at the daily chart across the time frames, this market right now is basically, let me just pull in I'm looking for a different tool. There we go. So we want to see this. Oh, that's not what I was looking for. We want to see this area here, this consolidation. We're going to see a breakout. So the question is, are we going to break out to the upside and come back up into 105s, or are we going to break these lows and push back down, whether it's 99 or 100? It depends. But what I'm saying is, we have to wait for confirmation. We're going to wait for a break of either side. Now, looking at the 4 hour, all we can see is that box, that range that I just showed you in a little bit more detail. Now the highs are progressively getting lower, and the support level is holding strong at 101.60. So where we've seen, if I just drop in horizontal level through here, you can see the market did attempt a break here, but then came straight back into the range. So you can't be fooled if the market does break out like this. So if we do get a break and we get a close above, something you want to look out for is, rather than the market just continuing, especially if it's a strong close, we want to see if it forms, the next candle starts to push lower. If it starts to push lower, then this can be your cue or your call to put in a buy stop above this range, looking for the market to push up in that direction. So if we are looking for long dollar, if the market breaks up, then we have to start thinking, right, if it's long dollar, we want to think maybe short euro, short cable, short Aussie, short Kiwi, long dollar CAD, long dollar Swiss. These are markets that are going to be of interest. So the most correlated will obviously be the euro dollar and dollar Swiss. So let's take a look at the euro dollar. Now, if we go out to the daily, we can see price has been operating in an ascending channel, but I'm just going to go out to the weekly, and I want to show you the structure on the weekly. So we can see here we've got major resistance all through this area here. So around the 109 even handle, we've got rejections, false break, and move back above. We've got a correction here. After price tests it, market reacts. Then we get a break and a retest, and the market breaks through. Now, after a big move down, we've seen a strong impulsive move back on the euro, which is usually a seasonal bullish period through the month of January. And now we've got this ascending channel. So the question is, what happens and how can we look at trading this? Well, from what I showed you on the dollar index, there's potential to see short euro. Now you can see this corrective rising structure that actually doesn't belong to this time frame. It's a smaller time frame, which I'm going to show you next. We've had a daily shooting star, so rejecting resistance, and if we look, we've got a very similar type of price action through this area on those daily candles. We've got consolidation, market moving up and down, working within a tight range around 109 to 107.80 or 108, where the market's just been consolidating. Then we saw the market try and break out yesterday, but only to close back within the range. If we drop down to the 4 hour, you'll see the corrective structure I was talking about. So I sent out an email to our database last night just saying, are we looking for a dollar U-turn or a DX U-turn in sight? False break here, and we've got this little bit of structure where we can see the market was pulling back. So I said we could look for a market to potentially push into this area, look for a rejection. But really what I want to see is this ascending trend line support that's through here. I want to see the market break through there, have a correction, come back, reject this area, and then we can look to trade this back down towards 107. Now at 107, whether we find buyers and dollar starts to weaken again and euro starts to strengthen, or whether we bust through it, that's a different matter. But that's the trade I'm ultimately looking for, which is a break of this trend line support through here. I want to see a break of this, I want to see price pull down and a correction, and I'll trade that back down in line. So I think that's going to be, in fact, I tell you what, let's take a look at one more chart. Let's take a look at dollar Swiss, because this was getting interesting. You can see what we were looking for here, and it played out pretty much to the T. So I'm going to go down to a weekly chart, and I just want to highlight a couple of things, which is we've got nice, strong, solid support level through this area here on the weekly chart. We also can see that the market was respecting 90, call it 94. And then as price broke through 94 on the daily chart, you'll see that we've got this sort of broadening wedge pattern that's formed, and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 tests and rejections of trendline support. So I'm looking for long dollar trades really above 94, but happy to trade a pullback into 94 before we get the answer whether we're going long or the market's going to reject. And that's what we were looking for here, where we've got this descending counter trend line here. The market broke above and then it came back and retested. So if we just drop down to, let's say, the hourly chart, and I just correct this back to normal size, so let's just, there we go. And you can see here we've got trend line resistance, 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 resistance. Price finds support here. We break through, so we have a now change in cycle. We've got a higher high, and we're looking for price to come back into this old resistance becomes new support area. And price came back into there, buy limit set, initial stops underneath this area. We can move stops up and underneath here now. And then depending on your trade management, you can see price is retesting an old swing high. So if buyers come back in here, this could be a nice little add-in trade, smaller risk, but add-in trade to at least test these highs and run on. Now if we break those highs, then I'd be suggesting moving stop losses up into break even. So hopefully you've enjoyed that video. If you've enjoyed that video, make sure you give us a follow or a subscribe so that you don't need to look for the videos coming anymore. They just get directed straight to your inbox. Please remember to give us a like, share and a follow to any your fellow traders. And if you don't follow us on other social media channels, we've got TikTok and Instagram, and I'll put those links in the comment section below. Alright guys, have a great trading day, what's left of it, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.